Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a video here I'm kind of excited for. It is from CWT, which I'm not familiar with, but the video is 15 hidden and abandoned London underground stations. I just think these old kind of forgotten um underground train station, underground anything, I think is neat to me. I don't know why, it just is. I know that there are some, you know what it is I think it reminds me of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. I don't know if any of you watched those when you were kids, like the old 90s ones. And they had like, there was one where they ended up living in a old New York railway station, and I don't know. I just thought it was the coolest freaking thing in the world. And there's old, gorgeous trains down there. So I don't know. Let's take a look and see if there's any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in any of these. But I will link this video in the description, along with a link over to Patreon and a link of how you can support the channel right here on YouTube. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you have not done so already. And let's do it.
Every day, millions ride the London Underground, never knowing that just beyond the tunnel walls there are abandoned platforms, sealed corridors, and stations wiped from the map. Trains still pass them, but no one gets off. Today, we're uncovering 15 lost underground stations beneath London. First up, we have King William Street. Our story begins at the very birth of the Underground. In 1890, the City and South London Railway became the world's first deep-level electric tube line. Its northern terminus was King William Street, beneath the City of London. But the station was badly designed. Platforms were sharply curved, trains were difficult to load, expansion northward was nearly impossible. When engineers extended the line toward Bank in 1900, King William Street was bypassed entirely. Less than 10 years after opening, the world's first deep tube terminus was abandoned. During World War II, its tunnels became air raid shelters. What remains today is fragmented but real, brick tunnels from the dawn of the Underground, still hidden beneath the city.
What is that? Ah, I'd love to. I mean, if I had an absurd amount of money, that's what I would try to buy one of these. I completely redo it, renovate it. I mean, not reno, but like just make it like it was, refurbish it, and make just a really freaking cool house down there.
City's financial heart. Down Street opened in 1907 and closed in 1932 due to low passenger use in Mayfair. But during World War II, the abandoned station was transformed into a secret bunker. It became headquarters for the Railway Executive Committee, the body controlling troop movements, fuel, food, and the railways that kept Britain functioning. The station was reinforced with blast walls, air filtration systems, and underground offices and dormitories. Winston Churchill himself used Down Street before the cabinet war rooms were ready. Today, its corridors remain, a ghost station that once quietly ran a nation at war.
That's
Brompton
so
Road
cool.
opened in 1906 on the Piccadilly line and closed in 1934, undone by low usage and nearby stations. But in 1938, the War Office purchased it. As war approached, Brompton Road became a command centre for London's air defence. From its tunnels, officers coordinated anti-aircraft batteries during the Blitz, tracking enemy bombers and directing fire across the capital. Though sealed to the public, the station still exists. A buried command post that once defended London from the skies. British Museum Station opened in 1900 on the Central Line, serving visitors to one of the world's great institutions. Its downfall came quickly. When Holborn gained Central Line platforms, British Museum Station became unnecessary. It closed in 1933. Its surface building was eventually demolished. But underground, the station still exists, sealed platforms hidden behind tunnel walls. Rumours persist of secret passageways linking the station directly to the museum for moving artefacts during wartime. British
Maybe.
Museum Station remains one of London's most completely vanished stops, forgotten above ground, but still present below it. City Road Station opened in 1901.
any of you that live around there or are familiar with it, okay, so the building above it, the railway station that was there, was demolished, but below it, the railway station still there. So there, in theory, would have to be access to it somehow, right? I'm sure the city has access to it. How cool would that be, man? Ah, love to go in there and look around.
Between Angel and Old Street, it was never popular. The surrounding area was industrial and poor, and passenger numbers were low from the start. When tunnels were enlarged elsewhere on the line, City Road was simply abandoned in 1922. During World War II, it found a second purpose as an air raid shelter. Later, the station was stripped of platforms and converted into ventilation infrastructure. Today, its location is part of a system that captures heat from passing Northern Line trains to warm nearby homes. A station that failed as transport, but still quietly serves the city. South Kentish Town opened in 1907 and closed just 17 years later. Low passenger numbers made it vulnerable, and the 1926 general strike delivered the final blow. One story cemented its legend.
I had to look up because they used to have all these different shows here, like you live in a what, and it's like people that bought like I don't know, like an old school or something, and they renovated to live in, or they bought an old fire station. I wonder if there are people that have like bought these somehow from the city and renovated them to live. It got just those those stairways, those tiled stairways. Oh, like just so much you could. I just think it's so cool. I don't know. I'm a nerd for that.
A train reportedly stopped at the closed station by mistake, and a passenger forced open the doors, stepping into a dark, abandoned platform. To this day, no one knows if he escaped the station alive, as all the exits were sealed. The tale inspired later stories about being trapped underground with no escape. Today, the station building survives, now home to an escape room experience based on its own eerie history. Few abandoned stations allow the public inside. South Kentish Town dares you to get locked in. York Road sits just north of King's Cross. It was opened in 1906 and closed in 1932. The area was once dominated by industry and poverty, and few passengers used the station. Its greatest legacy is its architecture. The red-tiled Leslie Green facade still stands, windows bricked up, entrances sealed. Below ground, trains still thunder past stripped platforms. As King's Cross has been redeveloped, the question occasionally resurfaces whether York Road could reopen. For now it waits, a perfectly preserved shell from a London that no longer exists. North Weald lies far beyond central London, on the former rural extension of the Central Line. Opened in 1865 and absorbed into the Underground in 1949, it served both commuters and the nearby RAF base. During World War II, pilots used the station while stationed at RAF North Weald, a key Battle of Britain airfield. Passenger numbers declined after the war, and in 1994, the Underground withdrew. Today, North Weald lives again as part of the Epping-Ongar Heritage Railway, restored to a 1940s appearance.
Cute.
Tube trains are gone, but the station is alive with history. Ongar was once the furthest reach of the Underground. Opened in 1865 and part of the Central Line from 1949, it was a countryside terminus surrounded by fields. It was also the zero point from which underground distances were measured. But rural passenger numbers never justified the cost. In 1994, the Central Line retreated to Epping. Like North Weald, Ongar was saved by preservationists. Steam trains now run where tube trains once stood, turning a lost underground station into a living railway museum. Wood Lane was on the Central London Railway, what later became the Central Line. It opened in May 1908 to serve the Franco-British exhibition and the 1908 Olympic Games at White City. Because space was tight, the station had an unusual layout, a loop arrangement for terminating trains, and later complex alterations when the line was extended west and the depot expanded. It was operationally awkward for decades. In 1947, it was finally closed and replaced by the White City station on the Central Line. Parts of the old platforms remained visible from passing trains for years, but the remains were removed during redevelopment in the 2000s as the area became home to Westfield London.
Hmm.
West London hides several forgotten stops, but few are as strange as Park Royal and Twyford Abbey. Opened in 1903, the station was poorly placed from the start, far from housing, far from industry. Passenger numbers were so low that trains barely stopped. By 1931, the station was closed, and a better located Park Royal station replaced it nearby. The abandoned platforms remained visible for decades, overgrown, crumbling, exposed to the elements. Eventually, they were removed entirely. Nothing remains today except old photographs and the memory of a station that never stood a chance. Charing Cross is not fully abandoned, but part of it is. When the Jubilee Line extension opened in 1999, the original Jubilee platforms at Charing Cross were closed permanently. Trains stopped running, passengers disappeared, but the station didn't vanish. Behind locked doors lied empty platforms, original signage and long corridors once filled with commuters. The abandoned platforms became a training ground for emergency services. Films and TV shows use these platforms and have been featured in Skyfall, Paddington and the Sherlock series. Charing Cross is a rare ghost, a station that still exists on the map, but with entire sections frozen in silence. Mark Lane Station opened in 1884 on what is now the Circle and District lines. It served the heart of London's shipping and insurance industries, but was cramped, outdated, and increasingly dangerous. By the 1960s, passenger numbers were huge, and the station simply couldn't cope. Rather than upgrade it, London Underground made a radical choice. In 1967, Mark Lane was closed and replaced just yards away by a brand new station.
That is silly. Like, they build these stations in the middle of nowhere that aren't close to anything, and then they close them shortly after because they don't have enough traffic. And then they open these other ones that are too small, then have too much traffic, and then they close those because they have too much traffic. Wow.
Tower Hill. Mark Lane's tunnels were sealed. Its platforms disappeared from public use. It's one of the few stations that didn't fail. It was superseded. Progress didn't forget Mark Lane. It simply stepped around it. Blake Hall was once the quietest station on the entire London Underground. Opened in 1865 as part of the Great Eastern Railway, it became a central line station in 1949 when the Underground absorbed the rural branch beyond Epping. But Blake Hall was surrounded by almost nothing. No town, no industry, just fields, trees and a single country road. Nearby was also the Blake Hall Country House, where it got its name from. By the late 1970s, fewer than 10 passengers a day were using the station. At one point, it averaged 6 daily users, making it the least used station on the entire network. Trains still stopped. Doors still opened. But often, nobody got on or off. In 1981, London Underground finally closed Blake Hall. The platforms were stripped and the station faded back into the countryside. Unlike Ongar or North Weald, Blake Hall was never revived as a heritage stop.
He was talking about, like, the platforms. A lot of them had the platforms stripped. Are the platforms not concrete? Like, wouldn't you just leave them alone unless you were demolishing the whole thing? Am I wrong? I don't know.
Its platforms were demolished, and the station hall was sold as a house. However, recently they have rebuilt the platform and bought back the house. For now, though, it is just for the photo. Blake Hall wasn't closed because it failed. It was closed because it was forgotten. We end with the most famous ghost station of all, Aldwych. Aldwych opened in 1907, originally named Strand. It was always flawed, a one-stop branch from Holborn with low passenger numbers. By the 1960s, it was rush hour only. In 1994, the lifts failed their final inspection. Aldwych closed, but its afterlife was extraordinary. During World War II, it served as a bomb shelter and stored priceless British Museum artifacts. Later, filmmakers discovered it. Aldwych became the most filmed underground station in the world, appearing in movies, TV dramas and music videos. Unlike most stations, Aldwych was never modernized. Its tiles, signage and platforms remain frozen in time. These stations, sealed, forgotten, repurposed, are not accidents of history. They are evidence of how London evolves, discarding what it no longer needs while building endlessly forward. The next time you ride the underground and stare into the tunnel darkness, remember, behind some of those walls are platforms with no passengers, stations with no name on the map, and stories still echoing in the dark. London never truly erases its past. It just buries it.
That was a good video. I liked it a lot. If there's stuff that's incorrect that stands out to you guys, let me know. You guys are really good about doing that anyways, but um yeah, I could watch that stuff all day long. I just think it's like it just sends my imagination going of like, like I would love to go down there. If you go back way back in my videos, you'll find a bunch. There's like it was a prison, and then there was like a prison. Well, actually, it was like the first tuberculosis hospital in North Carolina, and then later it got attached to the jail as a prison hospital. But it's like not super far away from me, and I did a ton of videos of like just wandering around the property and stuff. I just think that stuff from way before is just so neat, and it just I never understand how they just let that stuff dilapidate and don't do anything with it. Um, it's cool that they at least open up and let like movies and stuff and shows come in and film there, so you can get little looks at it, and they probably obviously have to like clean it up and make it look like it's still in use for the movies and TV shows. Um, so it's had that much probably done to some of them. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and maybe look at some. Like I said, I think it would be so cool to find one where somebody's like renovated it and done something with it, like made it into their home, made it into its own kind of museum, um, or a shop. I don't know. I don't care. I just want to see it. I just want to see it all. Uh, I just think that's so neat. Just such a big living piece of history. Um, Especially, how they used a lot of them as bomb shelters too. Um, thank goodness for them. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hit the like button, comment. Let me know if you want to see some more of these. If you know particular ones you want me to look at, particular videos, anything like this. Or even haunted, like alleged haunted stuff around London. I would love to see it. I love that stuff. I just do. Um, Never had any experiences like that myself, but I just think it's neat. I think it's interesting. Um, but yeah, if you guys have any personal stories about any of the ones that are closed, if you've been able to get down there, or you remember going there as a kid, or when you were younger, let me know. Let me know. Especially if you have pictures, put them in the um, community posts over there, and yeah, I think it's super cool. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. I'm nerding out over here about it, but yeah, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share, comment, hype, all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for watching with me. I appreciate all of you guys so much. You're the best. Have a great day.